I'm Miss Cindy, and today we are going to be painting a surfboard at the beach. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure your canvas is going this direction, and we're going to need white and blue paint. So take a big scoop of white and put it on your plate, and then take a scoop of blue and put it on your plate. And then we're gonna get that off of there a little bit. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take mostly blue with a little bit of white added, and we're gonna start at the very top of the canvas. And we're gonna go side to side, and you want a little bit of white mixed in with your blue so it's not too dark. You do that to do the edge and then go back across. And then as we're going down a little further, you can add a little bit more white as you go, because we want it lighter as we go down. And just make sure you cover all of the canvas and you don't leave any spots. You do that to get to the sides and then go back over it to get a nice straight line this way. We want it to go side to side, and you're just looking for a nice covered sky, and you want to put white in it so it looks like a natural sky. So just keep covering it back and forth. You can add a little bit of white as you need it. Sometimes it's easier to just kind of do that on the sides because it doesn't cover as well. And then you can go back across with it. I'm going to take a little bit of just blue and I'm going to show you where we're going to end. We're going to do it about 4 or 5 inches, and we're going to make a straight line, as straight as you can across. And that's going to be the top of our water line. So you're just going to keep going with the sky all the way till you get to the water line. Remember, try to do it all covering the canvas so you can't see the white through with the canvas, but nice and thin, so you don't have big lumps of paint. If you go across on the blue, that's okay. We'll cover that up anyway. We just wanted a line about where we're going to be. And we can go back and fix that line. Okay, so just about like that. You want different shades of blue and white in the sky so it looks like a natural sky. Oops, I see a spot I missed. Let me fix that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of the water. So it's going to be mostly blue with just a little bit of white. Let me get more blue. And we're going to go across there. Do that about that big. Across. So your water is all covered up. Sometimes the canvas doesn't cover really good, so you just kind of have to dig it in with your brush. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to wash my brush off because I'm going to put a little bit of white on the bottom, but I don't want to get too much blue in it, because right where the water matches up with the beach, it's usually lighter. So I'm going to take all that blue off of there, or most of it, and use just white. And I'm going to try to add a little bit down on the bottom. A little bit anyway. A little better in one spot. I'm going to try to get some more white on the other side though. Okay. Trouble with it. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that then. All right, I'm going to turn it around so I can reach the other part a little better. And I'm going to do brown. So take your brown paint and put a little bit on your plate. And you're going to take your white with a little brown in it, and you're going to cover the bottom. Remember, it's just the bottom. I turned it around. And you're going to cover the bottom for the ground where the sand is. And you want it a very light brown with a little bit of white streaked in it. If it's too brown, just keep adding more white to it. And you're going to do the bottom half of your canvas in the brown to make it look like the sand. Okay. Add a little bit more white over here. If you have it too dark, you can just add a little bit of white, just kind of blend it in a little bit here and there, just to make it look like sand, make it all different colors a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to turn it back around. And now we're going to let it dry before we go to the next step. Okay, now that it's mostly dry, we're going to go on to do the surfboard. First, what we need to do though is, actually I'm going to use the other brush, not this one. I'm going to use a round brush so I can outline where the surfboard's going to be. And we're just going to do it in white. We're not adding the red yet, we're just doing it in white. So I'm going to take some white, put it on my plate, and now I'm going to trace the surfboard. I'm going to make a little dot where the top is. And surfboards are kind of slanted on the sides and they go up to the point. So I'm going to go like that. And then come around and go downward. Kind of like that for now. And then we're going to take, actually I think I might use the medium one. So whatever brush you have, whatever works best for you. Everybody's got different brushes, so I'm going to use the medium one that's flat though. And now I'm going to cover this in white the best I can, because it is still a little wet. And it's going to pick up the blue and the brown. So we're going to cover that. And we're going to cover it all in the white, because we're going to go back and we're going to layer the red on later. So let's just cover this for now. You can cover it a little bit heavy and let it dry. If it's still too wet, you can let it dry a little bit longer. It's up to you. Now you can fix your shape of it a little bit too if it wasn't quite the right shape. Can't quite get this side. I'm going to try my left hand. That's a little bit better. Okay, so once you have the surfboard painted in white, we're going to let that dry while we put the tree in. So the tree is going to be mostly brown. We're also going to add just a little bit of white. And we're going to add a little bit of the blue, because we want to make it a darker brown. So add a little bit of the blue at a time till we end up with a darker brown. We don't want to make it too dark because we don't want it to turn black, but we want a deeper brown, kind of like this color. Okay, now I would not use this brush, we just used it for mixing. So I'm going to use the rounded brush, and now we're going to draw our tree trunk with it first before we painted it. So take a little bit of the brown, and we want the tree to go behind the surfboard. So I'm actually going to start down here, and I'm going to go upward to where your tree would be. And then we're going to do it, I'm going to start at the top, and we're going to make it skinnier at the top and then wider a little bit. And then when we get to here, just pretend like you're following it down. And make it wider like that. So now what I can do is go back and fill in the tree trunk with the dark blue, the dark brown. It's got a little blue in it. I'd probably go this way first, and then you got to go kind of back and make the lines. Okay, so there's the bottom of it. This part. We have to go around the surfboard. Okay, and then you can fix it if it was a little too bumpy looking like mine was. Okay. Now while it's still kind of wet, you want to take a little bit of white with a little bit of brown in it, and you want to go across like this, because palm trees kind of have a line built into it that goes like that. So we kind of want to make that little line that's naturally in the tree trunk. So take a little brown, take a little white. And just kind of go across like that. If it's too white, just add a little bit more brown to it. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more on the bottom down here. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to let it dry again because we want our surfboard, the white on the surfboard dried a little bit more so we could add our red to the top of it. So go ahead and let it dry then, okay? Okay, now we're going to paint the surfboard red. So take your red paint, and you can put a scoop of it on your plate, and we're going to cover the surfboard in red. Try not to go over where the white part is. You're going to probably get some of the white mixed in, but that's okay. That looks good if it does. Try not to get the blue mixed in, but some of it might. You get really close to where the tree is without going over. There we go. Okay, so like that, cover the whole surfboard. Some of the white's going to get all mixed in there, and probably some of the blue's going to show, but that's okay. We didn't want a solid red one. We wanted some of the color variation in it. Okay, I'm going to turn this around real quick so I can reach it better. There we go. You could always turn your painting around while you're painting to be able to get to it better. Makes it easier sometimes. Okay, if we get too much blue showing, just try to cover it up. And it's okay if your paint is a little thicker on your surfboard, because most of it is not going to have anything else touching it. Just a little bit, you're going to have grass at the bottom. Okay. And now, when that is all done, I'm going to put a little bit more white in. Let me grab a little white here. Okay. I want a little bit more of the white streaks in it. Okay, there we go, just like that. All right, so we're going to stop for a second, and then we're going to do the leaves for the tree, okay? Okay, so now we're going to do the leaves, the palm, and we're also going to do the grass, but first we're going to do the palm. So I put 2 spots of green on my plate and some white. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to this green because we're going to make it a lighter green. And then we're going to take, actually I'm going to take a little bit of this green then, and I'm going to add just a tiny bit of brown to it to make a dark green. So we have 3 shades of green. We've got light green, we've got the regular green, and then we've got dark green. I'm going to wipe that off. Okay, so now it doesn't matter which one you use for the base of the palm, but we're going to make some lines. You know what, I'm going to raise this up a smidgen like that. Okay, so first we're going to make our first part of the palm tree like that. And we're going to make another one. And you can use whatever round brush you have. They could be a little thicker, they could be a little thinner, it depends. There's different palm trees out there. And I'm going to make one more like this. Might go back and make another one after, but it doesn't matter how many palms you want. All right, I'm going to switch to the skinnier brush now. See how that one works. So first I'm going to start with the regular green, and I'm going to make the little leaves. I don't know what they're called for a palm tree, but this part of the palm leaf. So just make little lines coming out, kind of almost like you do like with a pine tree, except they're bigger. Okay, now we're going to make this one. They're going to overlap a little bit, but just going to use the regular green to begin with. And then we're going to go back over it with the light green and the dark green. I find it's easier to just go along one side and then switch and go along the other side. And depending on how big of that part of the leaf you make of the palm, depends on how many you really can fit on here. If you make them smaller and skinnier, you could probably get more than 3. A little hard to see it when it's on the brown, but that's okay. Okay. A little bit of these. A little bit. Okay, so after we do the medium brown, then we can go back over it with the lighter brown, or the lighter green, not brown, sorry. The lighter green. You roll that out. Okay, so we can go back and we can add some light greens now. We're adding more so we can add more depth to it by adding more colors and more parts of the leaf, of the, wrong color, sorry, of the palm. So just kind of overlap some of them. Some of them you can just kind of do in between. So we're just trying to make it more leafy looking by adding more of that part to it. See, these lighter ones will show up against the trunk better too. Okay. Some of them you can do on top, some next to. Okay. You can always just go back over to make it cover up the line. All right, now I'm going to take the dark one, the dark green that's mixed with a little bit of brown, and I'm going to do some more. So this way you have 3 different colors of green on there to make it fuller. In fact, this one is a lot more fuller than my first one that I did. Oops. But I actually like it better. Okay, so just like that. So now we're going to turn it around and we're going to make our little blades of grass. And you can pick whatever greens. I would use a mixture of all three of the greens. And we're just going to make little blades of grass off the bottom. You can make them however long you want, like some long, some shorter. You could use all of the different colors, like that one's going to be light there. And you don't have to keep switching. You don't have to keep washing your brush in between. Just keep going. Or you could do like all one color and leave spaces and then go back and fill in another color. Sometimes it's easier to start from the bottom and work your way up. And sometimes it's easier to start from the top and work your way down. You can put them on top of each other. It depends on how much grass you want. A couple of this color now. Couple little ones. All right, just like that, and then that is done. We're going to put our initials on it. Choose something that will show up on the bottom. I'm just going to do white. I have some white here. All right, let's see. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, and that's it. And we're done. Thanks for coming.